The Boy Scouts of America could remove the ban on gay scoutmasters by the end of this month. A 17-member executive committee unanimously approved a resolution that would let local scout troops choose their leaders without regard to the leader's sexual orientation. Well, 2 years ago, the BSA started accepting gay scouts, but left the scoutmaster ban in place. The policy change would be official if the 80-member executive board approves it, and that's going to possibly take place on the July 27th meeting. So John Langbert joins us now, father of triplets and also a former volunteer with your son's Boy Scout troop. We appreciate you being here with us tonight.
Thanks, Heather.
Known you about 5 or 6 years now. The first time you came in was about 5 years ago. Just to kind of set the backstory for folks, you were the popcorn colonel in your son's Boy Scout troop. You were in charge of the popcorn fundraising event that they had. Big success until they said, you know what, this is not necessarily something that we want you to do again because you're gay. And I know that's so frustrating for you.
Right. It was just a couple of fathers that said we didn't want a gay leader in the Scouts, and the national organization in Irving said, turn in your shirt, you're done. And
that was it. And you were so active and so involved, the kind of dad kids would want and that other parents would want because you do such a great job.
Yeah, I love doing it, and I thought it was a great organization with great values to bring my son up in, and turned out those values were kind of turned on me.
All right, so now let's move 5 years ahead to right now. What do you think of what happened today?
Oh, I think it's a giant step forward for the Scouts, perhaps into the 20th century, one more step to go into the 21st, but anything that lets gay and lesbian parents be more active in the Scouts with their kids is great.
So it seems like that since Robert Gates moved into position, things have really been changing, but I'm wondering if it's not a more difficult position for the local troops to be in putting more pressure, because they're just kind of saying we're going to leave it up to the local organizations.
Exactly.
Would it be better if there was just kind of this mandate and said, listen, this is how things are going to be, period?
I think so. I think the Scouts, their heart's in the right place. They're trying to recognize that the country is changing, but I don't think they thought through the mechanics of how this new policy is going to work. Let's say I want to, with Carter, be a Scout leader. Well, now I have to go shopping for a Scout troop that's going to allow me to be a gay leader if I want to be active. So are they going to have a registry of these Scout troops permit gay leaders and these don't? And what if a troop has a difference in opinion in leadership? I mean, are they going to be going off to court on these things again? I just don't understand why the Scouts didn't rip off the Band-Aid and say the Supreme Court has ruled, our military is fully integrated, it's time that we do the same thing. I mean, especially when the youth of our country doesn't even look at this as an issue.
Right.
It's just a bunch of folks over in Irving that seem to still have an issue with it.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, is the kids. I mean, doesn't this send a mixed message to them and what they can expect from the people they should be looking to for guidance?
Exactly. What happens when they're at a jamboree? Some of the troops have gay leaders there and other troops do not. I mean, is this, excuse me, is this a conversation they want the kids to be having right now?
So I put this on my Facebook page, and I just, kind of put what the BSA was doing. And there are a lot of remarks on there from people who are not supportive of this and think that there should not be gay leaders and gay volunteers. What do you say to those folks?
Well, it's America, and they are absolutely entitled to their opinion. If they think I'm not worthy to be a leader, they're entitled to their opinion. But the reality is, in our country, we should all be treated equally, and the Scouts should offer that opportunity to us. It's now national with the Supreme Court ruling. I think it's time that the Scouts at least catch up to our country. So
what, to talk about Carter for a second, what has his feeling been with all this? Because he's not active in Scouts anymore.
No, I gave him the choice. I said, well, I'll step down and you can remain in the Scouts. But he said he didn't want his father being treated like a second-class citizen. I was very proud of him for doing that. So he's gone off and has lots of other activities. Yeah.
That got me kind of choked up for a second. It's amazing when, your young son, because he's 14 now, so he was 9 at the time, and your 9-year-old is saying that they want their dad to be treated a certain way.
Yep.
It's pretty special. You think there's going to be any involvement now at this point, or
Well, it's certainly worth the conversation, but like I said, do I want to get on the phone now and start calling around to try and find a troop and say, hey, am I a first or a second-class citizen in your troop?
It'll be something to watch to see what happens on the 27th, and it's been an interesting discussion back and forth on our Facebook page. And
I wish they would just say, let's make the change now. We want the news to be something positive about the Scouts. We want to focus on building our membership and growing a great organization, and not spend another 15 years in the news on this issue.
Right. Well, John, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's not make it another 5 years. We'll keep watching and see what happens in a couple of weeks. Thank you.